Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh.
What's good? What's good? Welcome back to another First Cut Live. I'm here with the crew, the squad, the starting lineup. Obviously, I'm starting with my boy, the Batman to my Robin. It's Mr. RB3. What is up, man?
Yo, what's good, man? I feel like I'm more the Robin in this situation, but
Nah.
yeah.
I'm Nightwing. You're Batman. I'll be Nightwing,
please.
or I'll be Tim. I'll be Tim Drake.
That's a good one.
And obviously, the Wonder Woman of our timeline. It's Sabrina Ramirez. What is up, girl?
Hey guys, nothing much really. Just happy to be here. Happy to be with you guys. It's a beautiful Thursday. I'm excited for this topic, so let's go.
Yeah, obviously, guys, I want to start off this episode with what is going on in the world today, especially in this country, and that is the news of obviously Jacob Blake, but obviously not just Jacob Blake, but the continual social injustice that has been going on throughout the country. Throughout these past few months, it's been on red alert. People have been paying more attention to it. I think we should pay more attention to it. I don't really care if you work in sports, if you work in movies, or if you work in engineering or in the medical field. This is something that everyone should be talking about. So I want to bring this up, and I want to make sure and say Black Lives Matter, justice for Jacob Blake, justice for Elijah McClain, justice for Breonna Taylor. These are all shootings that have happened recently. Last year, Elijah McClain was pinned to the ground and murdered by police by the by the Aurora Police Department. This continues to happen. Jacob Blake was shot in the back 8 times. The NBA shut down yesterday. The Milwaukee Bucks simply refused to play the game. They boycotted the game. So I feel like if someone can do that, then the smallest thing we can do is just to bring it up. So I wanted to bring it up because to me, this is something that should be talked about all the time. And obviously, there was also a white supremacist terrorist yesterday as well who decided to take up arms and open fire on protesters simply because he wanted to, because he felt like it. He crossed state lines. He drove from Antioch, Illinois, all the way to Wisconsin simply to incite violence. And obviously, the media is portraying it as the protesters inciting violence, when in fact, this person was not only given high fives by police, not only given water by police. The police almost refused to arrest the guy when he raised up arms and basically said, "Arrest me," and the police didn't even arrest him. And yet Jacob Blake was shot in the back 8 times simply because he was walking to his car. So just put that into perspective as well. And a lot of people want to paint this picture of justifications, but there is no justification for murder, especially at the hands of the police department. So I don't want to hear anything about, well, he might have had some warrants. Well, he was walking to his car, so he disobeyed. I'm sorry, but disobedience isn't a warrant for murder. So obviously this is something that everyone is talking about, and it's something that we should continue to talk about because the nation is going through a huge process right now where a lot of people are fighting back. And I feel like we should be a part of that. So yeah, that's my final words on that. With that said, I want to switch times back to you guys, and I want you guys to talk to me a little bit about how your weeks have been. I haven't seen you guys in a week, literally since the last stream we did. So this is something that I feel like I'm catching up with you guys as well. But I'll start with you, Sabrina. How's everything been?
I mean, everything's been a lot better. This has been a fine week. I've kind of been open about like mental health and the way I felt during this entire quarantine. So personally, there's always like ups and downs. But I just try to find every outlet that I love, which is watching movies, which is reading other stories, writing my own stuff, interacting with you guys. I was able to see RB3 in person from a distance for the first time since your birthday, since we filmed that episode of The Meaning Of. We saw each other, and it's one of those things. As much I wanted to give him a hug, that was the first. I was like,
You did it?
I could hug you. No, we had to keep our distance.
I would have given him a kiss.
Oh man, I would love to smooch from Ace.
So tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough to close proximity but still not be able to actually hug, but at least I got a little bit of that. I've gotten to see Dorian. I'm just trying to be extra careful and extra safe because I do have a
Sure.
birthday road trip I'm going on soon, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be, yeah. So I'm going to see my boyfriend's parents, so I don't want to put myself at risk and put them at risk. That's the most
Of
important
course.
thing. So that's why I had to keep my distance. But those little interactions really do mean the world. Like being able to sit down and watch a movie with RB3 since I don't even know when was the last time we sat down and watched a movie together.
Yeah,
That
so
was
long.
not like
Y'all sat
yeah.
down and
So,
watched the movie?
yeah,
Let's
we
talk.
we
Let's
well the
talk.
embargoes. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Single tear, man. I got that little tear in my eye.
Yeah, the embargo lifted, so I guess we could talk about it a little bit. We were able to watch Bill and Ted, and anyone who knows me knows how much I love these two characters. It's like my guilty pleasure movies, but they actually are good, but it's another thing. It's like a feel-good type of film. So we were able to see Face the Music last night, and I'll have a review on Geeks of Color. We'll be talking about it later on. But yeah, we were able to watch that together, and it was so fun. And hearing RB3's laugh, we sat a distance away from each other,
Yeah.
but hearing his laugh during the entire film was something that it just made me feel warm inside, and it made my entire week so much better. So I absolutely loved it. It was a blast.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And obviously, RB3, you can echo some of that, but you also went to Vegas
Yeah.
yesterday
Yeah. Yeah.
to follow Tom Cruise's orders and go see Tenet.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, man. Listen. They said
If Tom Cruise orders you, you got to do it, bro.
Hey, listen, man. I've been trying to figure out a way to get into the Church of Scientology for a long
Hey,
time.
there you
And
go,
what I
man.
gotta do is
And you never
watch
get it
Tenet.
out.
And hey, if all I gotta do is watch Tenet and get a little mind bent a little bit, I'm down for that. But yeah, me and Dorian Parks went to Las Vegas to see Christopher Nolan's new film Tenet. Which was craziness. We had an interesting experience. There will be a vlog that's coming out. It's literally like 98% done. If we didn't have this, stream today, I would have had it like out. But we're gonna have. It's gonna be so epic, and there's so many like hilarious, but like also weird and strange moments all throughout it. So look forward to that. And then but yeah, we drove out to Vegas. Saw the movie, literally did nothing else. We also went to Raising Cane's and then drove right back to LA and then met up with Sabrina and watched Bill and Ted. So I got to watch two freak out time travel movies yesterday, which I thought was
nice.
awesome. Yeah.
That is cool, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that opens up an entire conversation that I've honestly been having with different people in the media, film media. And by conversations I've been having with film people in the media, I mean reading articles from them. This is me talking back. I talk back. They don't actually hear me because it's me reading articles. But it really is an interesting topic. And obviously, I'm so happy that you got to see Tenet. And I'm so glad that I'm assuming you're going to review it for us as well. I think that'd be amazing if you can. And obviously you, Sabrina, well, you guys can also review Bill and Ted. But it's one of those things where I've really been thinking about it, especially New Mutants, which is a movie that I actually want to see. I've been talking to my parents about this stuff. And obviously, since I'm here with them for the moment, I have these conversations more personally with them. But I don't know if now is the right time to go back to the theaters. And this is me, right? Obviously, I can have a lot of people disagree with me. But right now, I feel like there's such a moment, not just with COVID, but just in general with the country, that I feel like I just don't know if it is the right time. And obviously, I wouldn't mind hearing from you guys in the chat if you guys want to let me know what you guys think. Are you going to go back to the movie theaters if you have a movie theater open? Or if you're going to check out New Mutants or Tenet when it comes out? I personally don't know if I am. And part of that is COVID, and part of that, to me, is just simply defiance. I kind of want to boycott the movies right now, if I'm being honest, just because I don't like the way they've been going about it. Specifically, people like Nolan. Even though I'm gonna watch Tenet, I'm not gonna boycott Tenet. Let's face that. But I just don't know if I'm gonna watch it in theaters. People like Nolan, people like Tom Cruise, people who are going out of their way to kind of say whatever. Like, you can get COVID if you go to the grocery store, and it's kind of painting that picture around the Hollywood business, kind of makes me not want to go simply because they're saying that stuff. But I don't know. We had this conversation off camera, us three beforehand, and these are just my feelings right now. But I definitely want to go to the comments right now and see what people are saying.
Well,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, well, it's all good. That definitely is the thing because I opted out of seeing Tenet because of if I was alone in my house by myself for the next few weeks, it would have been fine, but I do have that road trip where I'll be exposed to a few other people, so I'm being extra cautious. And also, I didn't know what to expect. I'm excited for RB3 to talk about his experience just because I had no idea going into it. I saw the video of Tom Cruise watching Tenet and I was like, there's kind of a lot of people in that theater. I just think it's an unnecessary risk. I think I'm so happy that RB3 was able to see the film because I knew it was one that he was looking forward to. And I would have taken that risk if it was just myself. But it is tough when you're talking about other people because I know that I don't have my part-time job anymore. I'm done with that. So it really is just me at home. So if it was just myself, that's a different story. But it's when you go to the grocery store and how many people you're exposed to, that's kind of the thing where it gets really tricky. I'm also, obviously, there's no theaters in Los Angeles that are open, but I also think it was really ignorant what Christopher Nolan did with like Tenet and drive-ins and all of that kind of stuff. I just think it's that type of behavior that makes me kind of criticize him in that way. I'm really excited to see Tenet. I do want to see it, but I haven't really liked how selfish and irresponsible he's been throughout the past few months. And it's just one of those things where it's tough, but you know, I'm excited to see the film whenever I get to do it. Maybe it'll be on VOD, maybe it'll be at a drive-in, maybe it'll be in months from now when theaters open in Los Angeles, but you know, I'm really happy that other people are going to be able to experience it at their own choice. If you choose to, then that's okay. And I hope for your safety and I hope for the best, but definitely really take all the factors into account.
For sure. Yeah. And there's been several articles from health experts talking about the specific risk of a movie theater that I feel like a lot of people are ignoring because they're like grocery stores. It's really not the same. And I can link you to some articles that can talk about that. But first, let's go to the comments. Raul is here, guys.
Hey.
He says, hey, guys, can't be here for too long, but hope you all are doing well. How's everything doing? Sending all my love to you three. Thank you, man. We're doing good. We also have some these are all super chats, by the way, guys.
Yeah, we have Streamlabs too, by the way.
Awesome. Kyle Petrano says, Ace, what foe did you think of Jericho's comments today? Yeah, someone linked me to that. I thought that was so funny.
My bad, bro. I put you on the spot with that. That was on me.
Oh, I thought it was hysterical, man. It's funny because Chris Jericho was my first celebrity moment in Hollywood, actually, because he was on Schmoes Know 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember this, RB3.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't there, but...
Watching.
Yeah, I was watching.
You weren't there, but I'm saying if you saw this, this was when I was a part of Schmoes. It was him and Nick Mundy. Remember Nick Mundy? He came on the show, and he was the nicest guy ever. And I geeked out because obviously I'm a massive wrestling fan, and I've seen all his wrestling matches. I saw his WrestleMania 19 match against Shawn Michaels, one of the best matches I've ever seen in WrestleMania. Shout out to that match. Obviously his TLC match at WrestleMania 17. Just an incredible all-timer, one of my favorite wrestlers ever. And I got to chat with him just a tiny bit when he was there. And he was the nicest guy ever. So I love that he came back 5 years later. He comes back and gives me crap. It's amazing. But yeah, this is my visualization of just winning and making sure I always get a win. That's just me. If he doesn't want to equate that, that's cool.
But I think I probably over characterized like how seriously that was just an offhanded thing you said, and I kind of made it a thing. So that's
yeah. It's not like I'm swimming.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't mean it that way either, but I guess that's how it came out. So my bad.
Yeah. Fabrico's here, guys. Fabrico Roda says, even if movies open up here, I'll most likely go to a drive-in. I recommend the same for the three of you. Much love to you all. #BLM. So let's go to the other comments here. We have Jerry Garza saying movie theaters are open here in Texas, but I'm still going to a drive-through. Jenny Lawson says, hi, I saw Texas Cinemarks are doing 30% capacity, but I'm not risking it. I live in the same house with my sister who is going through cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Jenny.
Sorry, yeah.
Cade is here, guys.
Hey.
He says, I'm fixing my broken bed frame right now.
Nice.
Hey, man.
Gotta do
Hey,
what you
how'd it
gotta do.
break?
I know. I was gonna say how'd that break though.
Okay. Also, we have a
Go for it.
$30. Hold up, and let me see here. We have a $30 donation from Demonocracy. Let me make sure the thing is on. Again, thank you so much. Again, if you want to get it read out loud by the voice thing, $10 donations, and our link below, firstcut.live. If you want to contribute to the show, that's the best way to do it. Any donation over $10 on both either Streamlabs or on YouTube Super Chats will get your donation read out loud by the robot. Here's Demonocracy. Let's see what he has to say. 1 second. Oh, why is not going through? This is excellent radio.
Democracy donated $30. Black Lives Matter.
Yes, amen. Amen, Demonocracy. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We really do appreciate that. Yeah. Any final thoughts, RB3? Obviously, you're the one who went to the theater, so I feel like we're
It was, people,
I'm kind of shading you. My bad, bro.
People, no. I mean, people ask, like, how's the experience? Like, I don't know if I feel safe going to the movies again. What me and Dorian had was a completely unique experience that nobody else is going to end up having going back to the movies. Like, we had the whole thing completely shut down, literally only a few people in the theater. And yeah, and plus, we're being super careful anyway. Like, if you watch our vlog, we literally didn't take our mask like the entire time with each other. Like, so it's like literally being super careful was always our priority. And, we had a very relaxing situation in terms of that. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me. But, like, I definitely recommend people be safe about it. Like, don't go out there and be stupid and just, like, be going to the movie theaters, not wearing a mask, coughing all over the place, sneezing, chewing popcorn. That's nasty. You know what I mean? That's nasty. And the virus is a real thing. Salute to Brian Ward, a great friend of the show. He's designed a lot of our stuff. His father passed away recently of COVID. It's a very real thing. It touches everybody. I don't know a single person in my life who hasn't in one way or another been touched by COVID. So it's just like, it's a real thing. It's a scary thing. You have to take it seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why, to me, I really, especially because of certain defiance from people who are going out of their way to undermine the virus, I feel like maybe that's why I feel like I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to go to see these movies, even though I really want to see them. And obviously, I'm a theater purist. You guys know that. I'm the kind of guy who, like, I will pay $20 to see a movie that's going to come out on Netflix. I've done that like 5 times. So I think we've all done that. So that's my thing, where I love movie theaters, but I feel like right now is not the time. Alrighty, guys, let's go to our main topic, at least for news, and that is DC fandom.
Oh, I was gonna say, do I at least want to, like, give a quick review of Tenet here before we move forward, or
do you want to? I mean, I don't know if you wanted to do a video too.
I mean, we could do whatever. I'm down to talk about it, but I guess it would be redundant to have a review plus another review coming later tonight. So
yeah, because I would love for you to do a video, unless you don't want it.
We have our first reaction, and we could do another video later on down the line if we want, but. Yeah, for sure. Okay. That works. Yeah.
If you had a few thoughts and you wanted to kind of talk about
give us a few
something
thoughts,
that you sat on,
Yeah, nah. I mean, Tenet
maybe not a spoiler review, but
no.
Spoil the movie so we don't have to see it, please.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. It's best to go into this knowing as little as possible. Walking out of it, I'm still knowing as little as possible too. It was a little bit of a mind twisting movie in a lot of ways. And listen, Nolan movies don't usually confuse me. Like Inception, a lot of people are like, Inception was so confusing. I kind of, for the most part, can grasp Inception, when you're watching, like, in real time, like, as I was watching it for the first time. Same thing with Interstellar. People are like, Interstellar's a little weird. No, you kind of get it. You could if you're paying attention, you could get it. With Tenet, is weird because if you're actively paying attention and hanging on, you still won't be able to get it. Like, it's a lot to take in, at least for one watch. So I would definitely be excited to see it again, but like you said, Andres and Sabrina, like, it's like, when is the opportunity going to come up? Like, when is it going to be safe again? Is it going to be safe again? Like, I don't know. So it's a little scary, but I'm hoping for the best in terms of it. Maybe California having some sort of like drive-in exception, or I don't know, something, because I can imagine any way that
You read that article, right?
Yeah, I read the article. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, L.A., New York, biggest markets, not able to play movies. It's going to be tough for Tenet to make a lot of money, but it will also be tempting for a lot of people in LA too. The word of mouth has been pretty remarkable. I know Chris Stuckman. I saw Chris Stuckman put out a positive review today. A lot of people putting out positive reviews today, and people are enjoying it. So it kind of makes me curious: are there going to be critics now who have seen people like me, people like Stuckman, people like a few other critics who are covering Tenet go out of their way and cover it, adding to the hype, or is it gonna is it gonna dwindle away? I would hate to see a movie like this dwindle away though, because I think it is like really excellent, and I think on a purely sci-fi level, it is hardcore sci-fi that is hard, is difficult, is challenging, but I love it for every reason because of it.
I think that's my problem. My problem is, why would you go out of your way to release a movie during a time where people are struggling more than ever, to only make it, like you said, kind of diminish through this whole process, because a lot of people might not have the chance to see it. Why wouldn't you wait a year and put it out when people can go out in the theaters and then have this communion around this movie where everyone is like, oh, what did this mean? What did that mean? Theory videos, blah, 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 articles, blogs. Like, it would have been huge.
Yeah.
But Nolan went out of his way to say, no, I want it now, to the point where he's putting people at risk. To me, it's just so mind-blowingly stupid, if I'm being honest, to do that. Not only are you cutting your own money as far as your return, but you're also cutting your own conversation as far as a movie that creates conversation. Every single Nolan movie creates conversation. I don't know. To me, it's just so, wait. Like, I think that way about every single movie that's coming out, even New Mutants. I'm like, bro, you've waited 3 years for New Mutants. You can wait another 5-6 months. Like, chill. Yeah, you can push it back.
It really is one of those things where it is completely irresponsible, and I think Christopher Nolan is just like shooting himself in his own foot. Like, it doesn't really make sense at all. There is absolutely no part about this that makes sense, because there's a lot of bad press around it, because people are calling it irresponsible. It's not going to make as much money. This isn't this whole savior of cinema thing, because a lot of people aren't going to go see it. So if he would have waited till it actually is genuinely like at least most of the way safe, at least like 90% safe, 95% safe, something like that, and then like release it, then it just doesn't make sense to me why he couldn't wait a few months. This really is like, he wants to be this first big movie that opens up. Look at something like Bill and Ted that we were able to see last night. I think it's going to do really, really well on VOD. And it is kind of like a bigger movie. The visual effects are something else, because they are time traveling. They're doing stuff like that. But they decided to be responsible about it, and instead of pushing it back, they released it on VOD. I know he wouldn't have done that, but at least push it back. That's just the biggest thing, because people aren't going to be able to do, things you missed videos, or like ending explained videos, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to see it, so a lot of people aren't going to watch those ending explained videos. And if they do, then they're just ruining it for themselves, and it's going to ruin their experience. It's one of those things where he just didn't really choose the right way to go about this, I don't think, and I know a lot of people also agree. It's one of those things. We've talked our heads off about Tenet for the past few months, because they kept pushing it back. This is so redundant at this point, and now it's here. It's coming out in like a week. So hopefully, nothing bad comes out of this in terms of spikes in certain areas, in terms of people being safe, that type of stuff. That's what I hope, because honestly, it's really on Christopher Nolan at that point, if that is the case, because of his selfishness. Like, he is really just being self-absorbed. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my problem, is that statistically speaking, there will be some sort of spike, or some sort of, I hope not an outbreak, but at least a spike. Every single public event that's been going on over the past few months that has been up has led to a spike in COVID cases in any city or any festival or some sort of event. It's done that. So far, it looks like it's going to happen regardless, which is so upsetting, because I really do feel like it's a missed opportunity for a movie like that. But again, you can wait. so far, I don't see anyone that's going out of their way to say we need movie theaters open now. These are the filmmakers, these are the studios, these are the theaters who are basically saying we need movie theaters open now. As far as the public goes, not really. No one is really dying for movie theaters. So if you waited a few months, if you waited till next year, I think everyone would have been fine with it. I don't think there's anyone who's kind of crying about movies right now. Everyone's kind of fine chilling with their Netflix.
And there's so many other things going on in the world, and we do have a lot of releases. We are getting some more stuff now that it's been a few months.
Yeah.
People are switching to VOD. People are like, I'm thinking of Ending Things is coming out soon on Netflix. We're gonna get that film itch that it's gonna get scratched. We didn't need it in the form of actually going to a movie theater. Unless someone's comfortable doing it, then that's completely fine and it's their choice.
Jim
But
Fund
it kind of
donated
feels like
$10. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Side note, I think PPL like Nolan, Tom Cruise, and Josh Boone are in this bubble. The reason why you don't see them advocating to stay home and stay safe is because it doesn't really affect them. Plus, studios are probably pushing this. Partist Days and donated $10. I feel like Nolan is being self-centered about this, which I think what he is doing is wrong. Much love to all three of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Partist.
I feel you.
Was that 2 comments or was that?
That was 2 back to back. Yeah, so 2 different donations.
Same person, right?
No, different people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, one was from Pardis, and then one was from. I'm gonna get their name right now, but thank you for the donations again. People want to donate. FirstCut.live. $10 and up donations will get read out loud either on Streamlab or on YouTube Super Chat. $10 donations or up. Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna get the name of that donation, but yeah, I mean, part of me wonders. Okay, so here's what makes me wonder, right? I wonder what this movie is gonna do domestically box office when it opens, because it's gonna open in pretty much almost every other state except for the big ones like LA, New York, and Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So, what are those numbers? Now, if those numbers end up being big enough numbers to justify the ends of the means, and people are, no matter how foolish it is, like, if people are actually excited to go back to the movies and people are like rushing to go back, if that ends up actually happening, then is it really the fault of Nolan or is it the fault of the consumer? Because I mean, to one extent, you could is kind of, you can definitely blame Nolan because he pushed for the whole movie thing and he wants to be the first one out. On the other hand, there's definitely a level of like Warner Brothers executives and investors, sweating their balls off at the fact of like they're not going to get any quarterly earnings for like this quarter, the last quarter, any quarter, and they're trying to figure out whatever way they can to make money. So it's a little bit of both, I feel like.
It is, yeah, especially because we know how
we know what Warner Brothers is like.
I was gonna say, yeah. I read that. You read that? What is it? That article that came out 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Those guys. Woo! Warner Brothers really wants to make their money. That's true, but I do feel like a lot of this is Nolan. Like 80% of it is Nolan, from what I've read so far, from different articles. But to me, think about it this way. I was talking to my parents about it. Even the theaters that are open in those states are at 30-40% capacity. 1. 2, not all the theaters are open. So let's say there's 20, 30 AMCs inside one city. Only like 10 of them are going to be open. And those 10 are only going to have 30% capacity. You see what I'm saying? Like, even the states that are open only have a few theaters open, and those theaters have limited capacity. Therefore, box office return isn't going to be that much. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying it's not going to make money, but I don't think it'll make the kind of money they wanted it to make.
Well, I mean,
it's impossible with those circumstances. Yeah, but then also, here you go.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you have to consider Tenet will be probably the only thing in those theaters. It probably will be the only thing in those theaters. So.
Yeah, but then also, to the fault of the consumer, we've seen throughout the past few months that there really are pockets, and there's kind of a large amount of people, way larger than should be okay, that do believe that this is a hoax and that this is not real, and they're putting so many other people at risk. And if Tenet wasn't in theaters and if theaters weren't open, then we wouldn't have them making that specific kind of risk. And it ultimately, it really is the fault of the theaters at that point, because those consumers will go out if something opens. Like, the second when bars opened up in Los Angeles, I was driving back home from the grocery store and I saw a bar of people, way too many people in an inside bar not wearing masks in an indoor bar, and I saw through the windows and I was like, wow. And this was literally over 2 months ago during that pocket when it was open, and then we saw a huge spike. When stuff opens, people are getting that type of itch to go out. So in certain pockets, they're kind of promoting, and they're like promoting the fact of like, yeah, come outside. This is the only thing you can do right now. It's pretty safe, but that's not the case. So if it wasn't for the theaters and it wasn't for Nolan putting out his movie right now, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't get this particular instance of being able to go out. And that's the thing.
Yeah, you hit something so special, Sabrina. Really good point. And obviously I've heard that point before. Shout out to the Internet Today guys, Elliot and Ricky. The reason why I smiled is because they said the same thing, but they said it like in a very joking manner where they were like, there's going to be like
Artificial
anti-COVID
intelligence
people.
donated $10.
How about that?
I would like to thank Christopher Nolan for helping our community of artificial intelligence take over Earth for its resources.
Yeah, see, just breaking out. Let me turn that thing off so it doesn't interrupt us one more time.
Got you.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was the Internet Today guys were making the same point you did, Sabrina, where they were like, the people who don't believe in COVID are just going to be like, let's go see this Tenet movie because we don't care about no COVID. And they were doing this whole bit. It was really funny. They were like, there's going to be like a ton of people who don't even know who Nolan is, but they think he's like a symbol of like anti-COVIDness. So they're going to go out of their way to see Tenet, and then they're going to discover like cinema and Nolan movies. And they're like, yo, that Nolan guy is pretty good. It's a great bit, but it's kind of true.
He's he really is like an anti-COVID person by being this irresponsible. Yes. Like, I don't want to put words into his mouth or anything. I don't want to say that, but his actions speak for it. His actions genuinely speak for it, and that seriously is the case. And then those people are going to expose themselves to so many other people who are completely innocent and didn't decide to go to a theater. And it is just sad. And I know we've been talking about this for like 40 minutes.
Yes. Well, kind of. But
and we didn't even get to our topic yet, but it really is the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's, if I'm being honest, guys, that's why personally to me, I feel like we're at a point with everything in this country that everything is a statement. Everything is a symbol. Everything is some sort of, you're making a statement with your actions. So in my personal actions, I cannot take any responsibility, or I cannot dictate what anyone else does, and I cannot judge what you do. However, what I can do is do what I want to do and what I feel is right. That's why personally to me, I don't feel like the best thing to do right now is to go out of your way to see a movie theater, simply because of what that says to other people about the COVID situation. That's just me personally. That's why I told you guys off camera. I was like, guys, I don't think it's the right time. That's just me. But I don't know. Because I do feel like it's a symbol of a lot of people who are like, yeah, that means you don't believe in COVID. And I'm like, no, I do.
And also people don't pay attention to like the news as much sometimes, and they kind of stay off of like social media, hearing about what's actually going on. And they might just see something like this and be like, oh, look, COVID's probably getting a little bit better. Look at these theaters are opening. And then they're going to be less cautious and less safe. And this is not the case. I saw the number of people just in the last 48 hours that have passed from COVID. I know so many people who have gotten COVID. It's just one of those things where it is not done, and it is nowhere near from being done because of situations like this and because of people like that. Obviously, RB3s is I'm not shading RB3 at all. I would take the opportunity as well. Okay. But I'm talking about people who are going to the public.
No, I'm not.
People who are going to the public, like RB3 went to an IMAX theater, and there was literally like 10 people there total, and in a huge IMAX theater where everything was shut down. That is not the reality of what we're going to see when Tenet actually releases. It's a completely different situation. And I'm not shaming anybody who is going to a theater. I'm just saying the people higher up, the Christopher Nolans, the studios, the people who are running the theater chains, they're the ones being irresponsible because it's giving everybody an opportunity to be at risk in general. If they didn't give them the opportunity, then they wouldn't be putting themselves at risk. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
difficult. To me, it's the two. It's Disney and it's Nolan who are super responsible right now, and they have all the power in their hands to just literally say no to the movie theaters, because the movie theaters are the ones that are desperate. The studios are making money right now through the VOD. process. Not a lot of money, but enough money to get by. So,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They're fine.
So we have a Streamlab in from Aaron who says this might be a hot take, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge Nolan fan, so I'm definitely not going back to the theaters for this. Name a director that's a personal favorite for me. I really appreciate the work of Wong Kar-wai. He's always been so emotionally effective. Hashtag BML. I'm sorry, BLM.
I was gonna say, what is BML?
Oh my gosh, I'm tongue twisted. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see. Wong Let me see. I'm definitely mispronouncing that name.
It's kind of interesting. We're talking about this, but at the same time, I am a Nolan fan. So, if I'm being honest, I am.
Well, I mean, we talked about on our meaning of episode of Nolan and how he has a little more conservative leanings, through his movies or whatever.
And we're starting to see it, RB3. I give you credit for that because I didn't catch on to that until you told me.
But I mean, that's just what his movies are. But hey, listen, if it's a place like New Zealand or Australia or somewhere where they have COVID locked down, or in Wuhan where you saw they had that big pool party because they haven't had a COVID case in like a few months or whatever. Hey, listen, if you're that safe, if it's that locked down, go have at it. Go to the movies. Enjoy Tenet. And I think if that's what it got to be, if the slow states like California, New York, Florida got to get a slap on the hand and be like, hey, y'all can't see this movie because y'all been acting bad, then so be it. But, I definitely see the incentive of like at least getting it open in places that are open, at least trying to recoup some money rather than like making no money at all. I could get that level of it. So.
Yeah, I just feel like there's time. If I'm being honest, I feel like there could have been a better time than do it now.
Yeah.
Let's get to some super chats as well.
Okay.
Wish Williams said, I just rewatched your tournament final. It was legendary. You are my hero, Ace.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wish. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Fail Whale is here.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
Yo,
I haven't
what's
seen this
up,
guy
bro?
in a minute.
Yeah.
He just donated. He said, keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep up the dope work, y'all, he said.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have. Mr. Robots.
Hey.
Thoughts on I didn't get it because it's lazy writing versus it's smart, dense, or packed with meaning. And where does Tenet fall in that? What do you think, RB3? You saw Tenet.
No, I think there's definitely a difference. And I'm the first one to point out that difference. Like if something's fake deep to me, I'll be the first one to be like, no, that's fake deep, that's lazy. If there's something like Tenet, for example, I say the Tenet thing does not fall in that at all. It definitely falls more on the side of it being smart and dense and packed because I ended up learning way more from the action than I learned from the dialogue in general. Like there would be times where they will start an action scene, and in the beginning, I said this on SEN this morning, but an action scene will start, and then the scene will start, and you're like, yo, what is happening? You have no idea what's going on. There's people going backwards, forwards, like all at the same time, and you're just like so confused. And then by the end of the scene, you kind of understand it. But then what I was saying is that like it would benefit from a rewatch because at least now that you understand where it's going, you can at least be able to catch on to the beginning of that a lot. And that's just not one moment. That happens multiple times throughout the movie. So like, and that's just that's what I think honestly makes it so brilliant. I think a movie that makes you think and is like challenging, and because I'm not like. Obviously, people are like, oh, you do the film school thing or whatever. Like, okay, like that's true. Like I do like watch movies obsessively or whatever, like and in detail. But like, I'm also there for the enjoyment. And if you strip away the whole confusing aspect of it, it is also an enjoyable movie on top of that too. With, a little bit of emotion too. Not as maybe, people are like, oh, Inception is more emotional, like, that kind of thing. I get that level of it, but like, it's a different movie altogether. So,
yeah. Alrighty, man. I guess we got to get to our main topic. Otherwise, we'll never get to it.
Yeah. There we go.
Our main topic today is Tenet. No, I'm playing.
Hey.
My last thing on Tenet is that I know that I feel like I'm ready for Tenet because I watch, shout out to anyone in the chat who can echo with me, anime. And I feel like if you watch anime, you watch a little bit of anime, RB3, you know that the kind of scenarios and worlds they put you in and the way they explain it is so different than they do in American movies and American shows. So I feel like I'm already prepped because I watch enough anime.
Yeah, well, this is a little tougher because at least in anime you can hear the dialogue or you can read the dialogue. This you can't hear the dialogue at all, like anytime whatsoever. Yeah, and hey, listen,
is it just Travis Scott in the back?
It's that Ludwig Göransson, man. It's that Ludwig Göransson just killing it with that music, bro. I'm telling you, he's
holding Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah. And meanwhile, Nolan's like, oh, how are you not playing it on an original 1964 keyboard thing or whatever? Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Last weekend, we had this great event that went on that Sabrina actually covered for Geeks of Color, and it was DC Fandome, aka hashtag DC Fandome. We got a lot of trailers. I want to toss it to you guys right away, but obviously the biggest trailer of the weekend, guys, the one that everyone went crazy for, everyone was tweeting about, people went nuts. I went nuts because we got our boy Tim Drake in the house. It's Gotham Knights. What's up? Hashtag Gotham Knights was the biggest trailer of the weekend.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Totally joking, guys. I think that game looks fun. I don't know. Either way, let's talk about the new Batman.
Yeah.
Pattinson, Robert Pattinson. I think there's some other ones out there that people came up with. Yeah, let's do it. I Am Vengeance.
Robert Wayne. Think about that, the shoe brand.
Okay.
Robert, Wayne, Bruce Wayne. Robert Pattinson. Shoe store, Robert Wayne. Come on, guys.
It works.
Come on, guys. Give me something here.
Guys. That's too good. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, the second we kind of watched the entire, just the panel in general, hearing Matt Reeves really speak so highly of everything and really go into a lot of the details on what inspired this particular character. In Matt Reeves, I trust 100%, especially based off all of this, because Gotham City itself like a character. And the thing is that I actually talk crap about the Christopher Nolan, the Dark Knight trilogy. The thing that I don't like is that Gotham is so clean cut, and I'm from Chicago, and I can see places where I'm like, this was filmed in Chicago, and it just doesn't feel like Gotham. It feels way too crisp and clean, because Chicago is clean as hell. If anybody who's been there knows it's the cleanest city ever. And it's just something where, like, I want that darker, I want that gritty, I want that Gotham feel. I want this to feel crime infested and dirty and all of that. And so him shooting in Liverpool and then CGIing more modern architecture, it gives it this kind of like gothic lived in feel. And this is something that I really noticed from the trailers, because I mean, they only shot 25 to 30% of this film. And the fact that we were able to get this huge, like really, really beautifully put together teaser trailer is something spectacular. We get a little bit of everything that we wanted. I actually didn't even expect a teaser trailer at all. I expected like maybe like small amount of footage or something. But this was really awesome because I love Nirvana, and Something in the Way by Nirvana is my favorite song. So the second we did a reaction for Geeks of Color, me, Dorian, and Jonathan.
Super viral.
Yeah, that shit got has like 19,000 views. I was like, okay. But I was watching it, and the second I heard the first line like underneath the bridge, I was like, oh, Nirvana, this sounds so good. And it has this kind of like 90s neo-noir type of like feel to it. And it's so cool, but it's in modern day, because I think we see like an iPhone or something like that in the trailer. So it's so interesting to me. And Robert Pattinson, there is so much to talk about. And sorry, I kind of went on a tangent. I want you guys to definitely speak on it, and then we'll come back to me. But wow, I was impressed as hell by that entire panel and that teaser trailer.
Yeah, absolutely. RB3.
Yeah. Well, for one, I didn't get to see the panel. Unfortunately, I just saw the trailer. The trailer itself was crazy because I know, like you said, Sabrina, there's rumors of it being set in the 90s or whatever. And, even though like there were clues that indicated that wasn't set in the 90s full set, like also one of the cars that crashed into the building is definitely not a 90s car. But it has a very 90s David Fincher edgelord kind of feel. You know what I mean? A lot of people are comparing it to Seven. I think Seven. Another comparison is probably Fight Club too. A lot of people have been comparing it to that in terms of the mood and the tone. I'm excited. I mean, what got me curious is what got me curious, but also got me a little worried is when Matt Reeves was talking about. And by the way, you can't worry about anything Matt Reeves does because this dude is absolutely gold in everything he touches. Let the Right One In is absolutely amazing. Planet of the Apes is absolutely amazing. So you should never have any reason to doubt Matt Reeves, right? But I kind of got a little worried when he made these comments talking about how Joker kind of influenced them to go in a darker direction, or not necessarily a darker direction, but give this Batman a little bit more of a raw feel. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you really mean by that? Like, what do you mean raw? Like, what do you mean this? And to me, honestly, now after watching this trailer, I totally get it. I totally get it. I can see this version of the Batman not necessarily being a $200 million like action blockbuster. Like, I think this is a much more suited movie for a $60-70 million just noir detective thriller starring Batman, who turns out to be a crazy rich dude. And Robert Pattinson, I mean, there are times when they do close-ups on his eyes, like in this trailer. This dude looks stressed the F out. Like, he is looking like totally just distressed, raw, disgusting. Like, he almost looks like Jared Leto, but like actually good at the performance. So it's like, so I really, really dig it. The only thing, and I'm saying all these hesitant things, and I know it sounds like I'm poo-pooing on things, but I'm really not. But the only thing that gets me not necessarily hesitant, but I'm just a little curious, is this going to be a little too similar to the Dark Knight trilogy in terms of the realism, the commitment to the rawness, the commitment to that? Because there was a part of me that was getting a little bit excited to see the Batman enter more of like the whimsical realm with the Zack Snyder era, but I also equally wanted a detective story as well. And, you know, noir is my favorite genre of all time. So seeing a Batman story in that format is absolutely amazing. But my question is it going to be too similar? Is it going to be equally dark and, drainingly realistic as that?
Yeah, I don't think so. Just because I got different vibes from it. There's a different way you can do realistic or grounded. I feel like those words are always used, but there's different styles you can do it with. You don't necessarily have to do the same groundedness and the same realism. If anything, I feel like this one is even slightly more realistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about our favorite.
I understand what you're saying there too. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our favorite DC movies, but when I mentioned Batman Begins, if you guys rewatch that movie is actually very comic booky. Like, he literally climbs on top of a hill and discovers this secret society with ninjas that are popping out of the shadows. Like, that's so comic booky to the point that it's a little bit outlandish. And that's what I love about it, right? But that is the kind of comic bookiness that I don't see necessarily in this movie, which feels very much like Gotham City, serial killer, Riddler leaving messages and clues. It feels very Seven. There's a different type of groundedness, and I feel like this one's even more grounded with the car that he has, that he looks like he built it himself.
Yes.
Stuff like that to me just feels the suit. It feels like one of the most different Batmans we've had, even though it's following the same keep it grounded, keep it realistic formula, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And I like this young Batman where he's really only been in this for like 2 years. Robert Pattinson, from what I believe, he's the youngest person to like start playing Batman, because he's still, I don't know his exact age, but he's still very, very young. And I like this kind of like vulnerable, like trauma-ridden guy that we've seen from some of the shots. RB3 was saying, I like that juxtaposed with how clean cut he was in the shot that we saw him as Bruce Wayne and how young he is. I really like that. This guy who's been through so much trauma, because there's a reason why he takes up the mantle of being Batman. There's a reason why he puts himself and his body through this. And I'm excited. I think we're going to get a lot of that. I think we're going to see a lot of those type of moments, because he's not a Superman. He is just a guy. Yeah. And that's the thing. He's just a guy that went through trauma. And that's kind of really what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that like gritty, grounded, neo-noir detective film. And I feel like that's what we're going to get from here. And Paul Dano as the Riddler, hell yes. And Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Oh my God.
Yeah. Commissioner Gordon.
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
Who else do we have?
Colin Farrell. Yeah, as the Penguin.
As
Yeah, it looks absolutely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unrecognizable.
Like, that's a great cast. Who are you guys most excited for? Is that Paul Dano for you, Sabrina?
I would say probably, but I'm really excited for the entire thing, honestly. I just really want to see this Riddler. I thought that opening shot in the teaser trailer with the tape and everything, like that looked genuinely scary, and that's what I want. I want to be terrified by this villain. It's something different than we've seen before because we're terrified by the Joker in The Dark Knight, but because of how like chaotic he is, but this guy downright just is like a serial killer. So that I'm really looking forward to that aspect of it.
Yeah, again, I feel like this is an idea of making the Detective Batman story something that we've never really gotten before in movies, which is significantly different than what we've had before. One of the best shows of all time is this show called Luther. I don't know if you guys have seen it, with Idris Elba. An incredible show. But it reminds me a little bit of Luther, this trailer did, because it does have that very eerie, gothic, grounded serial killer dark vibe, where Luther is kind of going his way to discover different serial killers, and he's trying to get inside their head and trying to beat them at their own game. It's an amazing show. Like, you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's only like 3 or 4 episodes a season, and there's 2 or 3 seasons.
But they're like an hour and a half each, though, right? Like,
that's like an hour each, like an hour or 10.
Okay.
But essentially, it's like a little mini
movie.
serial killer episode every time, and then the more the season goes along, the more Luther gets a little crazy and nutty, just by going through so much of this stuff. And it reminds me again of the whole idea of Batman. And Idris Elba is amazing in it, but that's the idea, right? Of like how scary and terrifying these people can be if you take everything from the comics and put it on the big screen, right? It's almost reaching that rated R angle where you're like, oh, this could be R. I could see if they added a little more blood and goriness and a couple F-bombs, it would be rated R.
Yeah, I'd be kind of shocked if this wasn't rated R, honestly.
It won't be. There's
you
no
don't
way.
think so? I don't.
no way.
I honestly, I don't. I believe. I wouldn't put it past DC to make this R-rated at this point, because literally they will do anything R-rated now. They made Birds of Prey R-rated, dude. Like, Birds of Prey.
They did, yeah.
Birds of Prey.
They did.
This
and it didn't work.
But there's definitely constant a R-rated Batman in this tone and this flavor. 150% constitutes an R rating. And if they're talking about them going down the road of Joker, like, Joker is unquantifiably an R-rated movie, and unabashedly. And I hope they keep that consistent. I don't know. That's just me.
That's interesting. No, I like that.
I would actually be open for it, right? But here's the thing: I'm a studio head. I can pitch you Joker. I can even pitch you Birds of Prey. But I can even say now, we all know now that Birds of Prey R rating hurt it. It did. And I know a lot of people will say, no, it didn't. Yeah, it did. Look at the box office. The R rating did have a little bit to do with that. Number 2, Batman will always be. I'm telling you, man. If you go somewhere else right now, there's a 7-year-old kid who's like, I love Batman. Like, little kids love Batman. Versus Joker, you can get away with it, but Batman,
what we've seen in this teaser, I feel like parents wouldn't see this teaser trailer and be like, yes, I need to take my 7-year-old already. Yeah.
That's what we thought about Deadpool. That's what we thought about the other R-rated movies, where like, parents they'll just see the trailer. It's like, parents don't care.
Nah, but I mean, but
it looks chilling though. This looks chilling. Deadpool is still fun at the end of the day.
Yeah. Deadpool looks like a superhero movie. This looks like a horror thriller mystery movie. Like, this does not. I don't even see how they would. Like, I can't even see them marketing this to kids, honestly. Like, if they put, if this is the actual tone of the movie that they're going with, and they run commercial spots of this on Nickelodeon, I guarantee you people will protest. I guarantee you. Because this is like, I mean, again, maybe I'm hyping myself up too much. Maybe I do like movies like Seven too much. I do like detective noir R-rated. I mean, Nightcrawler. We talk about Nightcrawler all the time. If this is like a Nightcrawler kind of movie, oh my gosh, this is gonna be next level. But
Fincher, even Fincher, bro. Fincher's like one of our all-time.
Yeah, one of our all-time favorites. Yeah, so if it's something in that style, how can I not be excited? And
what's that show we watch on Netflix? Mindhunter.
Oh yeah, Mindhunter. Yeah. That's that show.
Bro, that's that Mindhunter show. Batman.
Yeah.
Y'all tripping.
Yeah. Should again got Jonathan Goff to play him. You're
right, but here's my other counter. Never underestimate the power of a brand. Like, to me, I can tell you guys, as a kid myself, I will always beg my parents, no matter how dark the movie was, if you had a certain character in there for me, I mean, obviously my example can be Blade, for example, me begging my parents to let me go watch Blade, even though it's like, but to me, it's just like, I don't care how dark it looks. To me, it's just like, oh, it's Blade, I'm going to go watch it. Yeah. And that's how little kids are nowadays, where they're just like, oh, it's Batman.
Well,
but he's killing kids, and he's killing.
I don't
people.
know. I think you're going to be able to tell from the poster and the trailers that are going to be on TV and on the internet. I don't think they're going to find any way to market this towards like legit children. Like maybe people that are like 12 and up. Kind of. I just don't. And then that's up to the parents' discretion if they do. Because I know my parents didn't care what movies I watched anytime. I watched like The Exorcist when I was like 10. And my dad was scared. Yeah, my dad was scared. And he's the one that left the house. And like just because that used to scare him when he was a kid. But I chose to watch it and I wanted to sit down. And so it's up to parents' discretion. It's up to what they want. I just don't think there's going to be a time that kids are like, I want to see this movie. And then parents are going to be like, yes, unless they're not already exposed to that kind of stuff. I feel like they already have to be.
You underestimate the dumbness of parents. Parents are stupid.
I think people are going to see these posters and these trailers and everything, and they're going to see a completely different Batman. They're not going to see like a Michael Keaton, like fun, playful Batman.
That's
even
the
like
thing,
the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is pretty it's pretty mature.
That's what I'm saying. So here's the thing: we've had the same issue for years with Batman, even '89. If you go back to 1989, people said the same thing. This isn't for kids. This is not going to work. Kids are not going to like this. But that's what people were saying, right? Obviously, in retrospect, we can be like, oh, yeah, it's whatever. They thought it was too dark. They thought Batman Returns was too dark. People thought Batman Begins was too dark. People thought Dark Knight was clearly too dark. We have all these movies are always too dark. And yet kids always still watch them.
Well, speaking of dark, and I want to bring this up because I brought it up before, but I think this is hilarious. Collider talked to the DP of the Batman before this trailer came out, and he said this quote, which I thought was funny. In terms of like the cinematography, there's a darkness in the character for sure, and we need to create a mood, which is obvious. It's a Batman film. I don't think it will be oppressively dark in terms of visually, because that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to have a competition about who's going to, who can go, about who can go the darkest of the darkest of the darkest. I just thought that quote was actually hilarious because I don't know about y'all, but I thought the trailer was oppressively dark. I had to ramp up the brightness multiple times. Like, am I watching all of this correctly? Like, am I seeing this? So yeah, even though you're not trying to be in a competition for darkest movie, dude, you're definitely in the conversation because I don't know, that was a hard trailer to watch, but
it was definitely dark. I agree with you on that. But also, like, they haven't shot a lot of the stuff, so I feel like maybe this is just a compilation of all these like dark. We don't know how the entire film is going to end up looking and how the actual trailer, when they do film the entire thing, is going to look. But yeah, that is really funny.
True. Let me see. We have some Streamlabs here. We have one from Aaron who donated a $10 donation. And
Aaron donated $10. Please do a meaning of episode on Wong Kar-wai. It would be an incredible episode and I will pay any amount if able to make a cameo on that episode. Sorry this is off topic. Much love to you all.
Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, you don't have to pay money. We'd have to have you on. You teach us a thing or two. Let me see. We have one from Toppy the Topic, great name, who donated and said, F Christopher Nolan. He said the actual word. F Christopher Nolan. I'm going to pirate the S out of Tenet. Also, can we talk about how he cast how he cast very attractive leading men, then just give them his haircuts and dresses them like him? What's up with that? Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of suits in this movie. I didn't understand it.
Wait. That's so good.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Do we have another one?
We do have another one. We have one from Christian Alante, who says, I gotta disagree, Ace. Even though this is more grounded, I think at the same time it will be more faithful to the comic books for the fact that Matt Reeves is making Gotham an actual character in this. Also, a lot of comic books hints like to Court of Owls. Yeah, so there were a lot of comic book hints there.
Yeah. If we do Court of Owls, have you guys read Court of Owls?
No, I'm aware of it though, but I haven't
Court
read
of
it.
Owls, it would be kind of interesting for sure. because I know a lot of people are split on the story, but it's a really fascinating Illuminati type story. It's really interesting.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No,
we have a donation from Nolan De Palma. Thank you, Nolan De Palma. Love the trailer for the Batman. I also felt like I was watching a trailer for a Fincher film. Absolutely. Can't wait to see Paul Dano as the Riddler, and the use of something in the way gave it an even darker and somber tone. Loved it. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That was a great use of the song. That's been an issue for me when I've been watching like trailers, is their use of music sometimes is just so off. But this one fit it completely perfectly. I had chills when I was watching it. Obviously, you could see my first reaction on Geeks of Color. It was great.
And last Streamlab donation from Christian Alonto, who donated and said, also, Matt Reeves did mention that while the core of the movie is a detective noir, he made sure to make action set pieces that are really good. TBH, based on the trailer, the combat will probably be way better than the combat in the Nolan films. I can see that.
I can see that. That's not hard to do.
Yeah.
I like that. I did like that shot, of him punching the dude out. There's a part of me that's like, I do wish that, and this is so nitpicky, this is such a director thing, but part of me wonders, like, they probably didn't mean to have that as like an ending point for the trailer. They just probably shot that one shot. And they probably had other angles they were going to cut to, but since they only had that one shot, they just put it at the end of the trailer or something. I don't know. There's part of me that I don't know.
Part of you that what? Say it.
There's part of me that I hope that the movie isn't entirely like that, like where you the stuntman's back is to the camera, you're just seeing him punch, like that. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that's not the whole fight choreography. And by the way, Nolan gets a bad rap for his fight scenes, but holy crap, the fight scenes in Tenet is absolutely insane.
Nice.
And
I'm excited.
You have to really think about it, because there are some characters going in reverse and other characters going in normal speed, and you have no idea. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I saw that featurette. I saw John David Washington really doing all that stunt choreography and like training, and that looked amazing, and he was doing it backwards.
Yeah.
Like, that's another level. And that's one thing that I didn't say before about Tenet that I'm really excited for. I think John David Washington is absolutely incredible. Nepotism made points with him. He is talented as hell. I think he deserves that like A-list superstardom, and so I hope Tenet could give him that. I hope all this like bad press around it and all this kind of like stuff talking about COVID in theaters doesn't really diminish what from what I tell from the trailers, is a great performance from what he does, because he deserves so many roles, and this is absolutely awesome that we have him as like the leading man in this film.
Yeah, he's great. He's amazing. Elizabeth Debicki is absolutely amazing. I consider her the emotional core of the film, honestly. And Kenneth Branagh, holy moly, Kenneth Branagh is absolutely nuts in this movie. He's going insane.
That's awesome.
He's going insane.
Great. We have Brandon Hanna in the chat, guys.
Hey.
This was a comment from earlier, but it kind of leads to my segue, which is he's naming everything else. He says Snyder Cut, Wonder Woman 84, The Suicide Squad, The Batman all look incredible, not to mention The Flash, Shazam 2, and Black Adam. Yeah, so we got some other trailers / news / video / information. What stood out to you guys as far as everything else that's not Robert Pattinson, the Batman?
You go first, Sabrina.
All right. So basically, besides that one, another one that I really loved was The Suicide Squad, just because I'm really curious to see what they do with this film. And I really like this behind-the-scenes featurette that they did. I thought the panel was really playful between the cast. James Gunn said it's the most fun he's ever had working on a set, and I'm like, oh, you did Guardians. Do you really mean that? But I mean, that's cool. Even like King Shark and Weasel and all these awesome characters. I loved Weasel in that featurette. I absolutely loved seeing Weasel. I know.
He didn't do anything.
That scene, I'm just like, I love this whole look for him, the whole like taxidermy gone wrong type of thing. And Pete Davidson, you know how much I love Pete Davidson. Obviously, a lot of these people are going to get offed throughout the entire film. Who we're going to be left with, we don't even know. Pete Davidson's probably going to get killed, as much as I don't want him to. But I think it's awesome that he's kind of been climbing in the ranks. Anybody knows that I adore Pete Davidson as like a human and actor and performer and everything. So I'm excited that he's getting to be in a film like this that's, action-packed. The set pieces during the featurette looked incredible. And I'm very curious to see it. That's the thing. I don't know how it's going to actually be, because when we saw the Comic-Con footage from Suicide Squad a year before it came out, that footage looked amazing, and the film was disappointing in my opinion. So who knows what we're going to end up with, but I thought the featurette and that entire panel was actually really cool and engaging. So I think they did a really great job for that.
Yeah, I think just that was probably gonna be the next thing I touched on too. So I mean, obviously, as you all know, as people who watch this know, I've obviously spoken up very loudly about like my disdain for not necessarily James Gunn, but like, you know, the tweets and getting hired for like 2 major movies. I think it's a little ridiculous. But I will say this: I never had a problem with him doing Suicide Squad. Like, I get the idea of somebody who did something, you know, problematic, and they get fired, and then a competing studio picking up and hiring them. I totally get that concept. Where it became a problem for me was him getting back hired for Guardians, and then it's like, oh, dude, you're getting 2 of the biggest paychecks of your life between some problematic stuff. Now that's weird. That's white privilege. I don't like that. But, you know, take that aside. I have no specific problems with like James Gunn himself or his movies. In fact, this Suicide Squad featurette thingy got me more excited than I would have ever anticipated getting excited for this movie, because the way they're describing it is going to be like a 70s war movie with like all of these, and when they show like that wide shot in the behind the scenes featurette of all the characters just running to one, and you see like something like 40 or 50 characters or whatever, and you know half of them are going to probably die or whatever, most of them probably going to die, but it's like it's just cool that they are taking what David Ayer completely just kind of threw into the trash. Like, you know, he had the idea of the Suicide Squad, but he really adapted the characters more than the actual story. But this James Gunn version looks like they adapted the actual story of the Suicide Squad, like this actual war pack literally, for lack of a better term, Suicide Squad mission to go in and take down this opponent. So that gets me super excited. That gets me gassed up. And, you know, that along with the Zack Snyder Justice League trailer, it seems like DC's going back in this direction of like very heavy directors. We love our directors. And it's just kind of fascinating to see him do that. So
Yeah, almost like that works, huh, RB3? That's interesting.
yeah.
What a weird thing to do. Trust your directors.
Yeah.
I think it's when they got a couple Oscars off of it with Joker.
With Joker. Yeah.
That's what did it. I really do feel like Todd Phillips getting that Oscar nomination, they were like, oh, really? Todd Phillips?
Yeah.
I guess we got to trust our directors, because if Todd Phillips can get an Oscar, anyone can. I grew up watching movies where there was a squad of people and then they would get picked off one by one, and you had your favorite at the beginning, and it was never the leader.
Yeah.
For some reason, you never liked the leader, but you always liked the side characters.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect example is Predator, right?
Yeah.
First Predator.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I like that Native American guy. I want him to survive. Me as a kid watching Predator.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, I like Jesse Ventura. I want him to survive. Or
I like Bill
whoever.
Duke. He was my mentor.
Duke.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you would pick your favorite and you would cross your fingers and be like, probably going to die, but please don't die.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be that kind of movie where the vast majority of people are going to die. And I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to die. Because I like some of them. Or I'm going to like some of them. Because I obviously haven't seen the movie. But go ahead, Serena.
Well, I like this idea of getting attached to these characters and them actually getting picked off, because
that's what
first
happens.
Suicide Squad, because the first Suicide Squad, they all kind of made it out in the end.
They didn't kill anyone. They only
didn't
killed
kill
Slipknot,
anyone,
right?
And and that's the thing. And it's like, if you have a situation like this, it's just unrealistic. And even if people do get attached to your characters and people might get upset, look at Gru at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it. But look at Gru, and it turned into something else. It added another layer to the story going forward. And I think the loss of their team, this kind of anti-hero, I like getting attached to people who are a little bit shitty. Some reason you're rooting for them, but they're kind of shitty people. And I really like that, and I like that it's going to be realistic, and they are going to pick people off, actually.
Yeah, it feels like, to me, the picking off is going to make me more meaningful, because we have somebody like James Gunn who, frankly loves his characters a lot more than David Ayer loved his characters. I mean, you could just tell, like, he gave literally Katana like 4 words. And, you know, the only character who really had like character development was Harley Quinn, and her whole character was based around the Joker. So it was like, and everything else was just a racist or a problematic stereotype of an LA gangster or an LA, a Latin king or something like that. So it's just, it's stupid. So I'm hoping, what was it? King Croc? I need a TV with BET. What's going on, man? What am I watching? Nah, get that out of here. So I think James Gunn is actually going to make us care about these people before he kills them off, and that's going to make the emotional impact even much more harder. And I'm excited to see what he does to the pre-existing characters, like our Harley Quinn, because this is the 3rd director we're going to see handle Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, and every single one of them so far have been universally different. Like, Birds of Prey Harley Quinn is very different than the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, and this Harley Quinn in this movie looks very different than the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn and the original Suicide Squad one. So just gets me curious.
Yeah, and obviously Harley's going to be one of the central characters in this. I think Idris Elba's character, I forget his character's name. Is it Bloodshot? I think it's Bloodshot.
Oh, so it's not Deadshot. They changed it.
It's Blood. Oh my God, I don't know why it's
Bloodshot.
I don't think it's something.
No?
Somebody
Vin
in the chat can say it's it's not Vin Diesel's Bloodshot. It's like Blood something.
Bloodsport.
Oh, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
There we go. I think it's Bloodsport. It is
That's a movie.
Bloodsport. Yeah. It is Bloodsport.
It's basically like an actual like rip-off of Bloodsport, says Brandon Hanna. It literally makes me like, his character design and his look and his powers are literally Deadshot's powers.
Yeah.
And Deadshot's design. It's literally I think it's actually James Gunn going out of his way to almost spoof Will Smith's Deadshot. I think it is, because it's so similar to the point that it's funny. Yeah. I think him and Margot Robbie are going to be like the central 2. Or if he doesn't make Idris Elba one of the top 2 or top 3 final survivors, I'm going to be upset, because that's just a waste of character.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to kill off like everyone except for maybe Harley, because she's worth too much money. The only reason why.
Nah, I could see King Shark being a continued character.
I hope Weasel.
Yeah, it's funny because King Shark is like the first one to die in the Suicide Squad animated movie, Arkham Asylum. I think he's the first one.
I actually just started that movie the other day too.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But good. You know, King Shark, surprisingly enough, has become like one of the most popular DC characters just from his appearances on Flash, also on a Harley Quinn show, also on like he was on a couple other things recently too. So weirdly enough, he's becoming one of the more popular DC characters. So I see what he does there. So
it's definitely interesting to see a character like King Shark, someone that I've seen for a little bit in the comics. Let's finish up with Snyder Cut. Oh, go ahead.
Well, people are theorizing Taika's the voice for King Shark.
Yeah,
so if Taika is the voice, people are going to be even more attached to the character, and I think that would be incredible. So
that would be more of a Harley Quinn animated series King Shark than like a traditional.
I think that's what they're going
for.
for.
Yeah. Because have y'all watched the Harley Quinn show yet? HBO Max yet?
Not yet.
Dude, come on, y'all gotta do it. We have to.
I know.
I can't wait to talk about it with y'all because it's such a good show. Such a good show.
Let's finish up with Snyder Cut.
Yes.
We saw the trailer. We finally got Snyder Cut.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, man. When that song played, I was like, take me to church. Daddy Snyder. Let's go. The Justice League I've been waiting for my entire life.
Yeah, finally. Hashtag Snyder Cut is real, man.
Woo.
We got the trailer. We got a little bit of the description as far as what's going on. We got 4 1-hour episodes is basically what we're going to get for HBO Max. RB3, since you started singing the song, man, what'd you think?
Dude, I love this trailer.
Yeah?
I still don't understand why they put it out in the weird square format thingy. I think somebody told me it was the IMAX format, which again, like, and this is, I don't want to harp back to Tenet, but like, there's a reason why they have an IMAX format for IMAX screens and normal widescreen format for normal TVs. Because if this is gonna go on HBO Max like in this square format, I'm gonna be PO'd. I'm gonna be pissed. But that being said, the footage itself, I loved it. I thought everything about it, from the song, the fact that there was really barely any dialogue, mainly just the song playing and just visuals, just that iconic Zack Snyder slow motion, low angle shots, you know what I mean? Big explosions in the background with the flash stuff. It's exactly what you wanted. And listen, I gotta say this too. I think they did a brilliant job putting in specific shots for people like myself, like Andres, who's been following this story very, very closely. They put in multiple shots that were either test footage, either in the original trailer for the movie that they cut out, or things that Zack Snyder has talked about in numerous interviews and stuff like that. Like, they went very much out of their way to make it specifically kick off to people like me and Andres, who've been following this very closely and know exactly what they cut out. When they did that flash scene, I was absolutely amazing. When you see that quick shot of Cyborg moving the rockets, I remember that shot being talked about in one trailer, and there being an interview about it. And just talking about Cyborg, holy macaroni! From 10 shots in this trailer, just 10 shots, I counted them, 10 shots in this trailer. You go from a Cyborg who had little to no backstory in the original cut of Justice League to somebody who has potentially the most tragic and epic story of this entire movie. And that's like no exaggeration. Like, in 10 shots, they tell you a completely different Cyborg movie that was completely non-existent in the original cut. So the fact that there's that much missing gets me excited. And the fact that it's not even missing is how much was changed. Like, I think there is reports that Joss Whedon reshot like 80 to 90% of Zack Snyder's stuff. Yo, that's a big chunk. There's a good chance we might see an entirely different movie, an entirely different story here altogether. And that gets me super, super excited.
Yeah, I've been saying that forever, but that stood out to me too. Was did you guys catch Kelsey Clemens as Iris West?
Yeah,
Yes.
Kelsey Clemens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that her name? Kelsey? I thought it was Kelsey Clemens.
Kiersey.
I'm sorry, Kiersey Clemens,
Clemens.
as Iris. I was like, oh my god, that's the Iris scene that they were going to put in the movie, and they never did.
And they had the test
what'd you
footage
think
that
of
leaked a long time ago for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Sabrina.
Oh yeah. You guys know how I've been.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not in the Snyder
middle.
Cut, bro.
I've been very, very in the middle because I'm happy for Zack Snyder. Everything I've seen him on, I've actually grown warmer to this as like time passes, honestly, because everything I see him on, from like the Snyder Con and everything, the way he speaks about this film and the way his personal life went, I can't imagine how hard it is to deal with something like this. Your film that was your baby and that everybody loved. People on set speak so highly of him. Ray Fisher speaks so highly. He seems like he genuinely cares about these characters. So I'm really happy about that. It was just, I didn't want it, my issue was I didn't want it to be the standard of like, oh, let's release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. And it's it's something like this, if it's something like a situation like this where it really is something important and something impactful, and people are happy, people are so happy about it, seeing fans that kind of started the whole Snyder Cut movement call in and talk about it with Zack Snyder, and to see how grateful he was that they did do this in general. That's something that's really great. I love the footage that we saw. I saw some people complaining that it looks like the same film, and like, I don't get that at all. I did not, and I'm not even somebody who's big into this, and I could tell that this is something entirely different and that we did see so much more stuff. And another thing, I've said this since I saw Justice League, Cyborg was completely sidelined as a character. Like RB3 said, we're going to see so much more of him, especially with all the stuff that's happened over the past few months with Ray Fisher and what he had to deal with on set by Joss Whedon and other people working. It's one of those things where I'm happy a lot of people are getting what they deserve in terms of getting that recognition. Ray Fisher was talented as hell, and he killed it as Cyborg, and I'm excited to see more of him. And hopefully this will take his career even further, because it's always a risk to speak out against higher-ups in the industry. It's such a risk for your career. We've seen it happen with like Megan Fox and people like that. So I really hope that this catapults him into more roles that he wants to do, more deserving like acclaim for how good he was in this film, because it's not his fault that his character was sidelined at all. He did great with what he had, and I'm excited to see more from this. The footage looks great. I'm excited. I'm genuinely really excited. I'm excited to see these characters again in a different way. I love that they're doing 4 1-hour parts. That's insane. And I'm excited because I actually am going to sit down and watch the entire thing fully through. Like, I mean, if RB3 wants to social distance, watch it. Andres, if you're back and you want to social distance, watch it like we did for Bill and Ted.
By then. I think it's like October 2021.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. That's a long time.
October 2021?
Well, that or May 2021. I might have to
It's a while from now. So if we're all in the same area, we definitely have to sit down and watch this one together. We have to watch it in one sitting. We'll be sitting there with our Red Bulls. We're staying up. We're watching it, and I'm excited. I'm excited to check it out. Coffee, whatever drinks of choice. I love coffee too. So that's the thing.
Hey, listen. One thing. If this is not coming out till October of next year, and the movie theaters are open and IMAX is open, I take back everything I said at the beginning. Keep that IMAX format, baby. Keep that IMAX format, because I'm going, even if I gotta make another trip to Vegas, I'm going there. I'm sitting down, 4 hours, IMAX, Zack Snyder cut. I'm there for that. You got me. Yeah. You got me.
Yeah, I think this is definitely an opportunity for people to see a different vision. And again, if you follow the story as much as I have, because I've really dived into it, even like tweets from like insiders and people who have gone inside as far as the production process, even the way it started with WB and DC going out of their way to completely destroy the tone of the first two Zack Snyder films, as far as Man of Steel and BVS. They purposely went out of their way to make it fun, light, and goofy. Remember that article, RB3, and I always bring it up, when they invited the 3 people, it was Collider, it was Frosty who wrote it.
And it was Frosty, and it was Devin Faraci, and it was somebody else. I forgot who else was there too. Yeah,
it was 3 people like that, and Frosty wrote the article about what they're doing as far as making it like Marvel, and they purposely tried to make it like Marvel. The entire thing is a complete crap show, to not cuss. And it's at least we get something. So Wonder Woman 84 is coming out too. It looks fun. We got to see Cheetah.
Yeah, I didn't like the Cheetah CGI though. I didn't like that CGI.
The CGI was goofy, but I love the character of Cheetah. So
yeah. Hopefully it looks better when it's in context and stuff like that, and we're actually seeing it in the film. I agree with you, but I do like this because I've always been like skeptical about the whole Kristen Wiig stuff, because I just see her, and I think she's an amazing actress because I love Skeleton Twins, but I do see her as more of a comedic, so I didn't know if I could get this kind of feel from her, but it looks amazing, and I'm eating my words, and I think she's going to do great. And I love that whole Selena Kyle type of transition that we get, this whole like, she looks like she's just like a frigid woman, and then she transforms into this character. I'm very, very excited to see that on screen.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, we got a little bit of Black Adam as far as what we're going to get for a cast.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We're going to get Hawkman, which is cool. I mean, we haven't seen Hawkman on the big screen.
Yeah, we're getting
when he said Hawkman, I was like, Hawkman?
Yeah. That's from the animated
Dr.
series.
Fate?
Yeah.
Woo, Dr. Fate. You guys know who Dr. Fate is? Dr. Fate is like a legend in DC Comics. So when he said Dr. Fate and Hawkman, I was like, bro, I mean, I don't even really care for The Rock as Black Adam, if I'm being honest. But the fact that we get Hawkman and Dr. Fate, that's dope. That's super dope.
I gotta say, what's really, really dope is hearing the announcement of a Static Shock TV show. I love that. That's absolutely amazing. That was one of my favorite shows growing up. And hopefully they do it justice. I know at one point they talked about Jaden Smith. I think that's an excellent casting choice, but if that doesn't work out. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good young actors out there anyway now, though, so they could get a lot of people. Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, let's finish up with a little bit of a ranking list, a listicle. Yes. Let's do our. Let's do 2 different lists.
Before we do this list, I totally forgot. For one, we have to announce last week's giveaway winner. Who is, and I'm pulling up the name. My bad, y'all. Totally forgot about this. But as I'm pulling up the name, this week's giveaway is gonna be a DC movie 4K Blu-ray. Since we're talking about DC fandom, since we're talking about our favorite DC movies, a 4K Blu-ray of whatever. I guess we'll decide, or the chat decides. What's the number 1 consensus for best DC movie of all time, and whatever that is, and whoever wins the giveaway, that's who's gonna win it. So you can read.
So I pinned the tweet. Yeah. So continue on.
No, yeah, retweet that pinned tweet, and we'll pick a random winner out of that pin tweet, and we'll make sure to reward them with a reward. I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll up to the thing real quick.
Is it for the name?
Yes. Oh, it was Meg, who is Spider Valerie. Spider Valerie, congratulations for winning last week's giveaway. There's not a graphic this week, but I promise there'll be a graphic next week. It was a very busy week. But yes, thank you, Meg. Thank you, Spider Valerie, for retweeting our show last week and helping us grow, because the more retweets, the more shares, the more likes that we get on these videos, the more we're able to grow. So thank you so much. And yeah, please retweet that tweet, and we'll figure out which DC movie we're giving away today. So
yeah, so I feel like there's two different lists we can do. We can do DCEU, right? Mm-hmm. What are our top 8? I think it's 8 movies or 7.
Mm-hmm.
DCEU.
We're gonna rank all of them?
Yeah, we've seen them all, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then we can do like our top 3 or top 5 DC movies. The problem with the top 5 DC movies, guys, is that my top 3 is going to be the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah. Well, you could count those as one, I think. Like,
right? Okay.
Yeah, you really could. Yeah, you could.
But we're doing just DCEU, or?
Let's do a DCEU one first, because I feel like it's a completely different thing than a DC, because DC has Watchmen.
Yeah.
It has the Burton movies.
Mm-hmm.
It has the Nolan movies. It has George Clooney as Batman.
It's tough for me because I don't like most of them.
Wow.
Okay.
The DCEU, yeah, I've been kind of pretty like outspoken about that. I just think that they're so convoluted. Sometimes they're so dense. There's a few of them that stand out, but at the end of the day, I don't enjoy a lot of them enough to really.
Wow,
I love like
favorite?
I have maybe like 3 that I like.
Wow, I'm heartbroken.
Yeah. I know, it's, guys, this is not me wanting to not like them. I just think that they didn't have a plan and that they were copying Marvel's kind of like release with the whole Justice League and stuff like that, but without setting the foundation and getting us to actually care about these characters. Not a lot of the characters are fully fleshed out. Imagine if we had a standalone Aquaman or a standalone whatever before Justice League. There was so much story to tell in Justice League that we did, and obviously we know the whole situation, but they shouldn't have even done. I feel like they should have led to that.
Yeah,
but they should have
Justice
led
to me
to
is
that
such a
later
crap
on.
movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'll start, I guess, because I guess everyone else is not going to do it.
No, I'm down. Okay, so are we just doing 2 lists or 1 list? Like,
let's do 2.
2.
Obviously,
Okay, cool.
If Sabrina can't name a couple movies.
No, there's
Man of Steel is my number 1
okay.
DCEU movie of all time.
Okay,
it still is. It has been. It will be. So far, so good. It's the number 1. I'm gonna break some people's minds with this next one, but I still think it's a gangster ass movie. And that's Aquaman is my number 2. I thought that movie was so much fun. I thought James Wan's direction was a blast. I thought he was having a blast the entire time. Jason Momoa was just goofing around. It was so much fun. Orm, Ocean Master, justice for Orm. Orm was right. # Orm was right. Take care of the ocean, guys. Don't be a dick. And then number 3, I have Wonder Woman. That's another one that I enjoyed quite a bit. And number 4, I have BVS. So obviously I've named my issues with BVS. I like Henry Cavill. I really don't like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex. I like some of the scenes and some of the story. And then Ben Affleck as Batman is super mad to me. So that's why it's pretty low on my list. Finishing it up with Justice League and Suicide Squad at the bottom.
Wait, what about Shazam?
Pretty bad. Oh, Shazam. I'll probably put Shazam right before Suicide Squad.
What?
You know my thoughts on Shazam.
I didn't know you.
That's one of the ones that I like. That's literally
RB3
one of the only ones.
When he told me, hey, bro, go watch Shazam, I saw it, and I was like, bro, not for me. Everyone's like, it's so much fun. It's great. And I'm like,
But what about like Birds of Prey?
At all.
What about Birds of Prey too?
It would be above Shazam.
Damn, you forgot all the bottom ones, I guess. Mine, I guess, like last minute thinking would probably be Wonder Woman number 1, Shazam number 2. I would say For number 3, Batman versus Superman, but what was it called? Like the Ultimate Edition?
Yeah, the
I
Ultimate
think
Edition.
that one,
Yeah.
the Ultimate Edition would probably be like number 3, and then maybe Aquaman. But again, guys, I know this is like a hot take. I really, besides Wonder Woman and Shazam, and then like Birds of Prey, but besides those few, I
Even
really
Birds of Prey
didn't.
is like,
And we talked about it on the review. Even
yeah,
Birds of Prey is not the best.
It's
But I could see how it's way better than a lot of the other ones that DC has to offer.
Man of Steel. You don't like Man of Steel?
I just don't love it.
Actually,
It's
a
fine.
good movie.
I like it. I like it. It just didn't. I never got attached to it, and I didn't really get attached to these characters. I really do want to see a Man of Steel 2, though. That's something that I'm serious about because I think Henry Cavill's Superman's incredible. But I genuinely am so underwhelmed by a lot of these movies. Even Wonder Woman that I really like, I don't like it as much as like one of the Marvel movies that I'm kind of like, eh. Like a Thor Ragnarok or something like that, like random stuff. I like so much more.
Sure.
And I know
Thor
it's
Ragnarok is
impossible
like
to
a perfect
compare.
movie, though.
That's exactly. I had a conversation with Aiden. You guys know Aiden Cossack.
Yeah.
He does not like Thor Ragnarok, and
That's
that was
amazing.
like we had an argument back and forth.
Yeah.
But even like the lower tier Marvel movies, like even like Doctor Strange, I think is good. Captain Marvel, I think is good. I like them so much more than I like these top
Wonder
few
Woman?
DCEU. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's tough for me, and I know I'm completely. This is like a hot take. I'm in the minority of this, but yeah, I've said my piece.
Yeah.
RB3.
Okay, so we're not ranking best, right? We're ranking favorite. Right? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, because
So-
Aquaman wouldn't be the best. But it's
Okay.
one of my favorites.
So this is where it gets tricky. So number 1 is clearly Man of Steel for me, easily. I think that's the one, good one that they have. Like, not good one, but I think mostly universally people, look at that one and say it's good. Number 2 would probably be Wonder Woman for me as well. Also another really good one. I think the third act falls apart, but I think for the most part is really, really, really good. Number 3 is Aquaman. I like Aquaman a whole lot, and the CGI is all over the place, and the squid playing the drums, I love it. The only part that draws me back is how many times the scene starts with explosions. That's a little weird, but that's all good. And this is where it gets tricky. So if we're talking about a favorite versus a best list, right? Like if I'm thinking was definitely better in this and deserves this 4th spot, it would definitely be Shazam, right? But however, what I will go back to and watch 9 times out of 10 will definitely be Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. Because it's just like I just find it's deeper. There's more going on. There's a lot more themes, and there's just more to dissect there. And as opposed to Shazam, which is a really cute, really fun movie for kids and families. To me, it's kind of candy, and I don't like cotton candy that much, especially when it comes to movies, unfortunately.
Hey.
Yeah. So, and you guys, look at how I talk about how can I be the cynical, hateful dude who hates Palm Springs, right? Like, how can that become me? But that's just me hating joy. That's just me hating joy, and that's what Shazam is. It's a purely joyful movie that I hate. So I'll probably go number 4, Batman v Superman. Number 5, Shazam. Number 6, Birds of Prey, even though I enjoyed that movie, it definitely is on the lower tier, but I'm looking forward to rewatching it. I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters. Number 7, definitely Justice League, even though it was bad for the most part. There were still moments like that opening sequence with the music, everybody knows, and then it's like all the slow motion shots.
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
that part was I don't know. That's very Zack Snyder.
I thought it was okay.
I like that part. And yeah, number 8 is definitely unequivocally, undeniably Suicide Squad, the worst movie I've seen.
Didn't you get a T-shirt for that?
I did get a T-shirt for that. Yeah, that's how excited I was for that movie.
That's how much you wanted to see it, bro.
Yeah. No, they led me astray. They led me so far astray that I said it was the worst movie of 2016 and still bought the Blu-ray because they told me it was a director's cut on there. So, no, terrible. Absolutely. Number 8.
This is Katana.
Yeah.
Well,
He has my back.
I was so excited for this freaking movie that after the Comic-Con footage came out, I went as Harley Quinn perfectly for Halloween,
No
like a
way.
homemade one because they didn't even have the options to like actually buy the costume yet. And I went as a perfect one. Nobody knew who I was. I was so pumped for this movie. Literally, like a little less than a year before the movie came out, I went as Harley Quinn for Halloween. And yeah, I was dumb excited, and it was just, whew. Yeah, I don't even count that. That one's bad.
The one DCU
Yeah.
movie with an Oscar too. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
And it
And
shouldn't
it
have
beat
won
out
either.
Star Trek. Like,
Yeah, Star Trek was, but oh my god, makeup in that movie was incredible.
Yeah.
And they picked
So
Joker makeup. Come on,
Yeah.
y'all tripping.
and that Joker makeup in particular.
Yeah, it was. I was so mad about that Oscar day. I remember watching it live, and I was like, "What are you doing? Oh my god!" All right, let's go to our top 3 DC movies
Okay.
besides DCEU, or if you want to include it.
Now for this one is I don't know who wants to start.
I mean, I don't know if I have mine. You
Okay.
have yours?
Okay,
Sabrina?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Why not? Because this is pretty low stakes for me. I think I think V for Vendetta is really great. That's probably one of the ones that sticks out to me the most because it's
Hardest
actually
Cheesy Days and
interesting.
donated $10.
Oh, sorry.
My
Thank you,
top
Cardi.
5
Oh.
favorite Sue movies are 1. Man of Steel 2, Shazam 3, Wonder Woman 4, BVS 5, Aquaman.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
five
It's
right
a good
there.
list.
That's a really good list.
The voice thing is
But-
on too, by the way. People want to donate $10 donations and
Yeah,
give
let
their
us know your
rankings.
list.
Yeah, interrupt us.
And that's the thing. So for V for Vendetta, that one kind of definitely sticks out to me because it's, it's complex, it's politics. We really get a lot of that. So that's one I haven't seen in a hot minute, but it stood out to me. I also like, I obviously, this isn't really in order for me. These are all just ones that I kind of are top
Yeah.
tier.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Doesn't have to be in
also
order.
The Dark Knight actual film, not the trilogy
Right.
itself. I do like the trilogy a lot, but out of all 3 of those, I mean, The Dark Knight is just something special. As much as I talked about Gotham kind of being lifeless in that one, overall, as a film, from the performances and the writing and the direction, that is a spectacular film. And then also, I would say I really did like Watchmen.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I loved that one. And then just to add another one, I would say like Shazam or Wonder Woman. I just really like how different both of those are compared to what we got, especially after like Batman versus Superman and Justice League and those types of tones, even Man of Steel. I would have loved, I still am one of those people that I talk about Man of Steel too. I want to see more because I was overwhelmed from Man of Steel. I just think they should have had this build-up, this bigger build-up going into something like Justice League, going into introducing all these other characters. Because when we watch the film, all the problems aside, genuinely, we're introduced for the first time to a lot of these characters, and there was just no build-up the same way we got for like an Avengers. There was no foundation set. So that's kind of one of the things that has really turned me off to the DCEU. It felt like they had kind of like rushed a lot to get as much out, and they're like, oh, we're putting out our Justice League. It could have been a spectacular movie, and I'm not saying Zack Snyder's cut isn't going to be, but the original one they put out, it was it definitely has dulled this entire DCEU for me, but I am really excited about a lot of the stuff that's going to come out in the future, like Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good list.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, the Dark Knight trilogy for me is always going to be my favorite. I even think Batman Begins might be. It's not a better movie, but to me, it might be the more fun movie of the trilogy. It's one of those movies that I always feel like that and the Dark Knight. I could pick Batman Begins over the Dark Knight sometimes, just because I'm more in the mood to watch ninjas and Ra's al Ghul than I am to watch really depressing Joker stuff, even though Joker is amazing. I just think Batman Begins, people sleep on how amazing that movie is and one of the best origin stories ever in movies. So that's one of my favorites for sure. What else is one of my favorites? Watchmen. I'm with you on Watchmen, Sabrina, for sure. Also, shout out to the Christopher Reeve Superman movies.
Yeah.
I think the first one's really good as well.
So that's where I was gonna go. Would you want to give your full list, Andres, or because I could?
That's my list. Yeah.
That's your list. Oh, so that's 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, shout out to the Christopher Reeves movies. I almost had them on my list. Honestly,
You can still put it there.
I do want to put them there, but if we're just talking top three, I did look up also like movies that came from the DC imprint that I think are also, we could consider. I don't know if we're kind of animated films as well, probably not. But
no, because if we did, I would have a completely different list.
Yeah, if we did count animated films, I would shout out Lego Batman because that's an amazing animated film. Also, Mask of the Phantasm, one of the best.
The Red Hood.
Oh, the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, Under the Red Hood is another amazing.
Batman
one
Under
too.
the Red Hood. All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
Is one of the most incredible movies I've ever seen. Superman and Batman versus the Elite. What else?
Of course, The Killing Joke. Hello, that's incredible.
yeah.
That's a masterpiece. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's Superman versus the Elite. I apologize.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to do a DC list. Remember that on Schmoes?
Yeah.
I did it for Schmoes. I did a couple DC movies, but there's a ton of amazing DC animated movies out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, RB3.
Yeah. So I do want to shout out those. I also do want to shout out V for Vendetta because that would be a very close top three contender for me as well. And the Christopher Reeves movies, they would be top three contenders for me. Unfortunately, they do get kind of buried like in the time period that they kind of came out in. So it's a little tough to look at them now and kind of see them the same way. But they are the first one and the first two in particular, the Richard Donner ones, are absolutely amazing. But if I'm going top three, I go for number 3, not necessarily a DC movie, but from the Paradox Press imprint of DC, Road to Perdition, the Sam Mendes movie starring Tom Hanks. I think that was a really, really great movie. Great production design and cinematography from not Roger Deakins. It might have been Roger Deakins. I'm not mistaken.
I think it might be.
Yeah. But really, really beautiful movie. My number 2 would actually be Watchmen. I love that movie so much. And that's easily the best Zack Snyder contribution to the DC universe, even better than Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, or whatever Justice League is going to be. Watchmen was absolutely amazing. And then, of course, the number 1 has to be the Dark Knight trilogy. That's just, a trilogy that defined a generation, defined what people's concept of how blockbuster superhero movies could work. There's this kind of joke now, the dark and gritty approach, and the Dark Knight definitely defined that. So those are probably my top 3. And shout out to Still, because Still is a good movie.
Also, I forgot Batman Returns.
Oh yeah,
I did. Yeah. I do really love that one. That one's one that I left off the list. But yeah, quick shout
out to Constantine. I like Constantine.
Yeah,
I think Constantine's a really cool movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the chat before we get out of here.
Yeah.
156 Impulse says Superman 1978.
Yeah.
Christian Alonte says The Dark Knight number 1. Mr. Robot says please don't say Joker. Trust me, I will not be saying Joker.
Yeah, Joker was close.
No. Hardest says it was not a Man of Steel sequel. I think they're talking about BVS, if it's a Man of Steel sequel or not. If you guys would consider that a Man of Steel sequel. I don't know if I would. I don't think I would.
I think I would, because it's almost
technically a sequel.
Yeah, it's definitely a direct following from that movie. Like, it kind of plays directly off of the events of that movie.
Albert Stillwell says Shazam over Aquaman. Christian Alante says Birds of Prey and Shazam. Hashtag Ormo's right. Nerdy River. Hey, that's my hashtag.
Yeah.
I saw another one that mentioned. Here we go. Saad says number 1 Wonder Woman, number 2 Man of Steel, number 3 BVS, number 4 Shazam, number 5 Aquaman, number 6 Birds of Prey, number 7 Justice League, and number 8 Suicide Squad.
Nice.
Cool guys.
Yeah, we have some Streamlabs here.
Let's do it. Finish up with that.
Nolan De Palma donated and said, "Let's get the first cut Snyder Cut watch along. Love you guys and keep up the amazing work." Yeah, that'd be great. That
could be fun.
That'd be great. D Train donated twice and put his first donation was, who are you more excited for, Paul Dano as the Riddler or Colin Farrell as Penguin?
I'm probably gonna say Paul, and I'm sorry to Colin, but I think his role is gonna be bigger, and I think it's gonna be creepier than Penguin.
more substantial. I feel like it's going to be a little richer, especially judging from what we got from the teaser trailer. And I love Paul Dano, so I think this is going to be so awesome. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking forward to Colin Farrell too, though.
Great.
He's gonna be great. D Train donated again and said, "Hey Ace, you said you thought Ben Affleck was meh as Batman. Please explain."
Oh, I don't have to explain, man. I mean that performance was so stale and didn't do anything and just grumpy and literally one of the most meh performances I've ever seen from Ben Affleck.
Nice.
His motivation in the movie was bizarre. His thought process wasn't clear. He would make one decision, then change his mind with Martha. Like, the whole thing is just not a good Batman. I'm sorry. Not.
But that's not on him.
Oh, his performance was real bad.
Yeah, I don't think it was awful, but I think there was more. Sometimes you can't work with if you're not given a great script and great direction. Sometimes it's hard to work with what you got for sure. And I think it's one of those situations because he was so excited to play this character and it just turns out to be really lackluster. And I don't think it's all on him. I think it's tough to get behind something when you know it's not that great.
Sure, it's a combination of the both for sure. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's not a really fun character to play, and then at the same time it's a very not even like interesting gloomy Batman. It's just a gloomy, stale, uninteresting Batman.
I
feel that. We also had not necessarily a Streamlab or a super chat, but I did see 156 Impulse was in the chat earlier, and he said, "Hey guys, hugs," and that his mom is doing better. So thank you, 15. I'm super glad to hear that, 156. Happy to hear that your mom's doing better. I hope everything's good at home with you, and thank you for supporting us through this time, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it, right?
Is that it? Have we done it? Have
we
made
did,
it
man. I mean,
to
this
the
has been
end of the show?
It's been 2 hours,
2
man.
hours.
I was gonna say, alrighty, guys, we did it. I guess the last thing in the chat right now is people very angry about my Ben Affleck take, but with that, we leave you guys. Thank you so much for listening to First Cut. We really do appreciate you guys. RB3, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at DirectorRB3.
Sabrina.
Twitter and Instagram at SabrinaXMonica, and then also Twitter at SabrinaOnFilm, and then Patreon.com/SabrinaOnFilm.
I'm obviously at Squad Race, guys. Make sure you hear, subscribe, pay attention to us. First Cut TMO, that's where you can find everything. You never know what you're going to get hit with, guys. Maybe a review of Tenet, maybe a review of another movie coming out this weekend. Make sure you guys tune in. For the First Cut crew, we're peacing out. Peace.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh. With the 4/5 divide you in half.